Hello and welcome. I am DEJI360 and you're watching DEJI360. Now, the national conference has begun. Of course, after so much debate and after so much controversy, 492 delegates are now meeting in Abuja to sort of chart a new course for this country. We don't know what the outcome of the conference will be, but the president actually inaugurated the conference last week, and let's find out what the president now said. Some people have actually said the conference is not necessary and that the president is not sincere and all of that. The president took out time when he was performing that inauguration to explain why the conference is necessary. So it's kind of the president now defending the need for the national conference. Take a listen to what the president said.
It is our expectation that participants in this conference will patriotically articulate and synthesize our people's thoughts, views, and recommendations for a stronger, more united, peaceful, and politically stable Nigeria, force the broadest possible national consensus in support of those recommendations, and strive to ensure that they are given the legal and constitutional backing to shape the present and the future of our beloved fatherland. In inaugurating this national conference today, we are not unmindful of the arguments of those who say that we do not need such a conference since we already have an elected parliament and elected government in place. As cogent as that argument may sound, I am choosing to act on the sincere conviction that in the truly democratic nation we are striving to build, we must never ignore the loudly expressed views of the majority of our people. I've heard the majority say that we need to rebuild trust by involving them in the process of developing a guiding document of our national political relationships, which is more acceptable to all sections of the country. I've heard people say that we need to openly and frankly discuss our problems and seek acceptable solutions instead of allowing them to fester and remain sources of perennial conflicts. I've also heard them say that as the elected representatives of our people, we must never arrogate to ourselves all knowledge and wisdom regarding the development of our country.
Well, that's the president defending the need for the national conference. Now, that cannot be overemphasized anyway. The president also said something else. He spoke about the agenda of the conference. Of course, different groups have gone to that conference now with their own agenda, but here is what the president said in terms of setting the agenda now for the delegates. It's not as if the president is saying this is exactly what must be discussed, but he was basically setting the agenda to say, well, these are the areas I expect these 492 delegates to talk about. Take a listen to what he said.
This conference is open for us to table our thoughts and positions on issues and make recommendations that will advance our togetherness. The issues raised from form of government, structure of government, the evolution of powers, revenue sharing, resource control, state and local government creation, boundary adjustment, state police and fiscal federalism, local government elections, to indigenship, gender equality, and children's rights, amongst others.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. 92 delegates to talk about. We're still going to look at some of the issues the president raised there, but for now I'm being joined on the program by a delegate to the national conference who is also a lawyer, Mr. Bisi Adebuyi. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thanks.
Let me start by asking you, how has the past 2 days, or should I say 2 or 3 days of sitting, how has it been?
Well, basically, we have gathered together, and one fundamental issue is we need to come up with rules of engagement. If you have a conference like that, there must be order. And in ensuring that it's order, you must know what the rules are. And
I understand the rules have been passed on to you, right?
Well, we're here to take custody of same, but I believe that when we resume plenary on Monday, we would see the rules, look at it, debate, and then decide whether to pass the rules or not. It all depends on what they have there, and it all depends on how we think we want to conduct our affairs.
I just hope you're not going to spend too much time debating these rules.
I'm going to remind the delegates that time is not our friend, it's not on our side.
Sure.
And no matter what, whatever rules you have, you can't have any perfect rule anywhere. We'll have to make do whatever we have so that we can achieve as much as Nigerians are expectant. And they want us to lay a template that can further cement our unity, ensure that the greatest good is made available to the greatest number. Don't allow our quest for unity to stand in the way of equity, justice, fair play.
We're still going to talk about the issue of unity, not allowing your quest, as you said. But I want to find out from you, as a delegate, do you have this sense of, you know, a weight of burden on you that, look, the entire country is relying on you to define the course of this country, what the future of the country will be? Do you have that weight?
We must rise up.
Do you feel the burden?
I do feel the burden. As you know, I've been involved in the advocacy for restructuring of Nigeria. I have this sense of responsibility that Nigerians are expectant. They are evidently not happy about the situation, the direction in which their country is going. I remember with nostalgia the 57 or thereabout wise men that laid the foundation for the greatness that America has achieved today. Half of them were lawyers. I remember Lord Hamilton, James Madison. Their mandate at that material time was to look at the Articles of Confederation and then come up with suggestions. They are supposed to amend. But so much in their own belief, they saw an Article of Confederation that could take them not as far as they would have wanted America to be, and decided to write a new constitution for America that laid a solid foundation for the greatness that America has achieved today. That is the clarion call to 492 wise men and women, as they are being referred to. History beckons. Nigeria is at a crossroad, and we must urgently intervene to refix, to rejig, and rework Nigeria.
Let's talk about, during the week we saw you, the delegates, giving these bags containing documents, so to speak, the report of previous conferences and all of that. Have you taken a look at this document? And do you think you'd have enough time, you the delegates now would have enough time to look at this document and you know, go through all of them? You have just 3 months, go through all of them and then decide what to do with them.
Well,
and have you been told what the document, what you're supposed to do with them?
It's the documents are supposed to guide us. They are supposed to serve as research,
so that you don't discuss certain things. You don't bring up certain things that have been discussed in the past.
No, that's not it. Because we're going to set an agenda for ourselves. Those documents are supposed to guide you. The deliberations of past conferences regarding forms of government, whether it's presidential or parliamentary, resource control, just generally keep ourselves abreast of efforts that have been put in place in the past, and then see how far we can go. For some of us who have been involved in this advocacy, we're in a familiar terrain. I've done a lot of research work on, as you know,
no doubt,
on this issue. So I'm at home. I've got lots of documents to work with. We have development agenda for Western Nigeria, don't document. You have the Yoruba agenda.
You have the Pro-NACO draft constitution.
We have the Pro-NACO draft constitution, which to me appears to be very popular now. It does appear we're building consensus around that Pronaco document, because whatever the Yoruba people are clamoring for have been accommodated in Pronaco constitution.
And that brings me to the next question now, because you talked about the Yoruba people. You are representing Ogun State as a delegate at the conference,
yeah.
And I want to believe your agenda is not different from the overall Yoruba agenda, so to speak, even though we clearly don't know what that agenda is, but we've seen quite a lot.
Let nobody deceive you. The agenda of Yoruba people is true federalism. If you look at what we are demanding from the Nigerian state, parliamentary democracy, regional autonomy, recall that way back 1951, we had achieved regional autonomy from the colonial overlords. It is a shame that in 2014, we are still agitating for that. That's the contradiction within the Nigerian state. And flying the kite of flag of Ogun State, you will know that the primary responsibility of any government is the protection of life and property. And in that wise, you must have, if you have powers to make laws, you must have means of enforcing your laws.
You would definitely be pushing the regional agenda.
We will be pushing decentralization of police. I will be pushing on behalf of my state fiscal federalism, because in line with a New York Times columnist, wherein he praised the efforts, the developmental efforts and giant strides that Governor Babatunde Fashola of Lagos has recorded, that we need to devolve powers to cities for them to unleash infrastructures and developmental efforts for the greater benefit of our people.
Even though some people have said the Yoruba agenda is somewhat ethnic, I want you to take a listen to what President Goodluck Jonathan said at that conference and tell me if he wasn't actually referring to the Yorubas and you know, those of you who are going to push this regional agenda. Let's take a listen to what he said now about ethnic agenda.
I am quite worried when I hear people say that some participants in this national conversation are coming here to defend and promote ethnic or clanist agenda. It is very regrettable that there are persons who still believe that we cannot undertake any collective task in our country without the hindrance of ethnic rivalry, even after 100 years of nationhood. This conference gives us an opportunity to prove such persons wrong, and I believe it will. The time has come to stop seeing Nigeria as a country of many groups and regions. We have been divinely brought together under one roof. We must begin to see ourselves as one Nigerian community. We are joined together by similar hopes and dreams, as well as similar problems and challenges. What affects one part of the community affects the other. An average Nigerian sees every part of the country as home. Let us seize the opportunity of this conference to do more to further turn our diversity and plurality into unique national resources for strength and greatness.
Sadegui, I want your reaction to that. Don't you think
I'll start by asking you, if you are clamoring for regional autonomy, parliamentary democracy, devolution of powers, decentralization of police, are those ethnic agenda?
Some would say yes.
I don't agree with them. These are fundamentals of true federalism. And whether we like it or not, a country that is multi-ethnic.
Because what you are asking is, some would say you're gradually asking for, you know, whether you like it or not, to some extent, you're asking for some kind of division.
How can that amount to division? When we had it in the First Republic, and University of Ife, University of Ibadan, Ahmadu Bello University, Nsukka were first-class universities, world-rated universities, was that a division? I mean, we must look at where we're coming from. Western region, under the uncommon leadership of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, had television station before half of Europe. I mean, we are nostalgic. We want to develop at our own pace. You see, they are trying to give a dog a bad name in order to hang it. If you ask for fundamentals of true federalism, let nobody label you an ethnic jingoist. And in any case, unity is Nigeria's albatross because our leaders are pursuing or looking for ways of achieving unity in a wrong manner. One, unity is always a product of negotiation. Two, you can never decree it. Nationalism is a sentiment. You are born with it. And there's no way anybody can deny you of your right to self-determination. Indeed, United Nations, by virtue of the African Charter on Peoples and Human Rights, have indeed acknowledged this. Crimea people want to be part of Russia. Venice want to be out of Italy. The Catalonian people in Spain want to be alone. Scotland, Ireland, if all of these things are happening, why are we trying to play the ostrich? The challenge for Nigeria is how to achieve unity in diversity.
But you must admit that it's not going to be easy for you to push through this agenda. To get the other delegates who are not from the Southwest, so to speak. What
we're going to do is this.
Yeah, I want to know the strategy.
Can we agree on areas that were built consensus? Look at Ekeri Madu, Deputy Senate President. He's a strong advocate of state police. David Mark, who never supported state police, is also supporting. That is, we have built consensus around that. Now, we'll look at areas of disagreement, resource control, derivation, and all whatnot. And then do us trading, give and take. Evidently, Nigeria is not in the best of shape. And we believe that in order to change the course of events, in order to change the fortune of Nigeria, I mean, ask an average Hausa man, he will tell you that the best years of governance he ever had or read were the years of Ahmadu Bello.
It's quite true.
The Yorubas are nostalgic about the giant strides that Awolowo recorded as one. First and foremost, leader of government business in Western Nigeria, and thereafter, premier of Western Nigeria. We are nostalgic about that. We want that to come back. An average Iboma will tell you that the years of Akbara, Onamdi Azikiwe, when University of Nsukka was first-class university, they want a return to that. So if we are clamoring for that, why can't we look at the template that engendered that?
As a delegate now, what do you think? What do you think will be the most difficult issue for you to agree on, for you to deal with in this conference? Especially when you look at the agenda, look at.
I believe resource control is going to be very, very contentious. I believe derivation is also going to be a very knotty issue for us to crack, because it's about access to free money. But we must remind our brothers and sisters, wherever they may be, that the world
No, don't say wherever they may be. You must be referring to the North, basically.
That's not. Look, even some of our guys in the Southwest are also saying that don't allow resource control to be, because the people who are making so much money based on 13% derivation will have access to more money. So don't get it wrong. That is not a no. I mean, there are contentious issues. But what I'm saying is that to those people who have this rent collection mentality, who have predisposition to feeding bottle federalism, let us remind ourselves that the richest man on the face of the earth is not selling oil. Countries that are making progress all over the world today are running knowledge economy, knowledge-based economy. Remember the Zuckerberg of this world? Remember the guy that did Instagram? I mean, these are people that are using their brain to make money. We have so many of them in Nigeria, but Nigeria is standing in their way.
One question I have to ask you before we end. I want you to take a listen to what Festus Keyamo said. He's a lawyer. I want you to take a listen to what he said, what he makes of the conference. He doesn't support it at all. Take a listen to what he said and give me your reaction. Let's take a listen to what Festus Keyamo said.
The contraption we have today is nothing but a fraud on the Nigerian people. If you remove the government nominees from that conference, they cannot achieve the 75% they say they need to achieve to pass any resolution in that conference.
Well, but you probably didn't hear that because it's sounding kind of. But basically, what Keyamo was trying to say there was that if you remove this 75, because one of the rules that has been laid clear now is that you need 75%. You need 75% of the delegates to support any resolution at all before it is passed. And he's saying when you remove all the government nominees, both at the state and federal level, that when you remove the government nominees, there's no way you can achieve that 75%.
I'm personally going to kick against that because it offends majoritarian rule. If you want us to have consensus 100% for us to reach a decision.
You mean you're going to kick against the idea of 75%?
I'm going to kick against it and seek a review. Majoritarian rule should be our watchword.
When you say majoritarian rule, simple majority.
Simple majority. Because let me say this to you. If 65% of the delegates believe that parliamentary system of government should be adopted, and because you have not attained the threshold of 75%, you want to kill it, that means you're killing the wishes and aspirations of 67% of people. And that what tells you is that
go on.
It doesn't make sense to me. We must review it.
Can you review it? Because it's like the government has said this is how it should be.
We must pass those rules. They can't impose rules on us. And that's why we're going to subject every rule to debate and then.
But it would appear this is a rule the government has said. The government has said 75%, and it's also come out to say certain issues cannot be discussed. So
I believe
now doing anything otherwise, wouldn't that be going against your point of reference?
Look, you see, the point is, if we have the right to pass some rules, we also have a right to review it. Whether we're going to succeed with that or not is a different thing altogether.
Well, who knows? Maybe the 75% is not on the rules you're going to be given next week. Maybe it's not one of the rules.
Let's wait and see. But to say that we must take decisions by consensus, which means that everybody agrees to it, or by 75%, which means once 26% disagrees, then 74% won't have their way. That's a recipe for crisis, because what that means is that people will get agitated and begin to fight for self-determination, that you are trifling me. For instance, if you ask us to go for referendum now, I have a senatorial district that consists of 9 local governments. And if the 9 local governments in my district pass certain resolutions, and because some other senatorial districts somewhere will not want that to go, then my resolutions will not see the light of the day. Then you want people to be centrifugal. They will never believe in the association, because the association is not based on fairness, justice, fair play, and equity. So we must be very careful about this.
Well, I mean,
what we must remind ourselves, regardless of whatever anybody may want to say to the contrary, Nigeria is a country of so many nationalities. Nationalities that can stand as countries on their own. To be honest with you, we may have to look at confederalism. Because in our agenda, for instance, we have decided that what they have in Ethiopian constitution, that look,
that you could have it here, in the secession clause.
You say, look, if you are not happy with what is happening in this association, you should have a right to say, no, I don't want to belong to this association. You can't force people to stay together anyway. But I can tell you, 95% of Nigerians want to stay together, but they want terms of staying together to be fair, just, and equitable. Don't stifle me. Let me pursue my wishes and aspirations. Let me set agenda for myself. Let me prioritize. But the moment, it is provocative for any part of Nigeria to say that they are going to block Yoruba's quest for self-determination. We're going to fight.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see how the fight pans out during plenary. But it's definitely going to be tough pushing.
It's not going to be a tea party. Negotiations, horse trading, give and take, not forgetting that it is better for us to have Nigeria harmoniously united, because there's a difference, a world of difference between being united and being harmoniously united. Mr.
Bisi Adegbuyi, thank you very much for coming on the program, and thank you very much for your thoughts. Well, that's it on the program. If you want to watch it again, it's simple. All you just need to do is go to our website, www.tv360nigeria.com. You'll find the program and lots more there. You can also watch us on YouTube by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TV360Nigeria. Follow us on Google Plus at TV360Nigeria. And you could like us on Facebook. The address is facebook.com/TV360online. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at TV360online. Thank you very much for watching. I am DEJI360. I'll see you next week.